Hello students, welcome back to my class. Before we begin today's lesson, please subscribe my channel, hit the bell icon so that you may be notified to any new video that I upload so that you do not miss those videos. Alright, let's begin with a recap of what we have done in the last video. So, as we know, we have been talking about footprints without feet, and our main character of the story, Griffin, the scientist, experimented day in and day out and accidentally came across rare drugs, and he swallowed it and he became transparent. He turned invisible. And then, as he was already angry with his landlord, he set fire to his house and then he escaped the place. And now we find him wandering in the streets of London, naked and shivering in the cold. Okay? So just at that moment, he enters into a big London store in search of warmth and food. He needs clothing. Okay? So when closing time arrived, as he was already there unseen inside the store, and as soon as the doors were shut, Griffin was able to give himself the pleasure of clothing. He took down clothes as he liked from different stores and he was wearing them. And then besides that, he also ate everything that he wanted to eat without regard to expense. Okay? He didn't have to bother about what or how much he had to pay for what he had done or what he had eaten, what he was wearing. Okay? So it says like this: closing time arrived, and as soon as the doors were shut, Griffin was able to give himself the pleasure of clothing and feeding himself without regard to expense. He broke open boxes and wrappers and fitted himself out with warm clothes. Soon, with shoes, an overcoat, and a wide-brimmed hat, he became a fully dressed and visible person. In the kitchen of the restaurant, he found cold meat and coffee, and he followed up the meal with sweets and wine taken from the grocery store. Finally, he settled down to sleep on a pile of quills. So that's what he did. He broke open some boxes, wrappers. Okay, he took out things that he wanted and he dressed himself with shoes, an overcoat, and a wide-brimmed hat, a big hat. Okay, and after that he became a fully dressed person, and now you can see him. So right now he becomes visible. And then in the restaurant inside the store, he found some cold meat, coffee, and then he followed up with a meal with sweets and wine taken from the grocery store. Okay? And then later on, you should know one thing, that he might have been exhausted from the day and he had been shivering and he wanted to find some rest. So he found that's a good time for him to sleep, and he took down a pile of quilts, you know, the warm cloths that we use to cover ourselves when we sleep during winter. So quilts. Okay? He took down some pile of quilts and then he got some rest. He slept. But then, unluckily, he could not wake up in good time in the morning. He was still sleeping when the workers already opened the door and started coming in. Assistants were already starting to work inside the store. So afterwards, what happened, when he saw a couple of them already working, he might have been awakened by that time, and then they were approaching him. So what happened is, it's written like this here: he panicked and began to run. He panicked and began to run. But interesting thing is, he was still wearing clothes, so he can be seen. Alright? They naturally gave chase. When you see somebody entering into your house and you suspect that that person is a thief, what would you do? The first thing that comes to your mind is to chase or to shout. So that's what those workers in the store did. Okay, they gave a chase, and then in the end he was able to escape, but only by taking off his clothes and throwing them away, by becoming invisible and naked, he could escape. Of course, he escaped. But then the trouble is, he had to be again in the chill January air of London city. It's a cold place. Okay, so this time he decided to try the stock of a theatrical company in the hope of finding not only clothes but also something that would hide his empty nose, empty shoulder. That means the upper part where you do not wear clothes here in the front of your face. So to hide this particular area of your body, you must need some things that can hide you. Alright? So what he did, shivering with cold, he hurried to Drury Lane. He was shivering with cold. And so he thought of Drury Lane. Drury Lane is a very famous place in London. It's the center of theater world in England. Okay, so there he went, and he soon found a suitable shop. And there he made his way. He is invisible right now. No one can see him. He went upstairs and came out a little later. How he came out? He was wearing bandages around his forehead and dark glasses over his eyes and a false nose. Okay? And he also was wearing a big bushy whiskers, side whiskers, muffler, that means a heavy one, so that you can cover the whole of your neck. Okay? Your forehead is already bandaged. Glasses here, dark glasses, and the nose is hidden under the false nose. Okay, and a large hat to cover his head. He had to use a large hat. Okay, and then to escape without being seen, what he had to do now? He carelessly attacked. Okay, he carelessly attacked the shopkeeper. He attacked the shopkeeper from behind and also looted him of all his money. And then he escaped. Okay, this time where is he going to escape? He cannot stay in London city any longer. Okay, so he thought a little different, and what he did is, if we go on reading, it says like this: eager to get away from the crowded London, he took a train to the village of Iping, where he booked 2 rooms at the local inn. So far away from London city, he took a train and went to a place called Iping, a rural area. Okay, so there in the inn, he booked 2 rooms for himself. Inn means a hotel. Okay, a small hotel, probably near the station. All right, so it's not a big town, but a small town, you can say. It's mentioned village here in the story. Okay. Now the problem is, when a new fellow arrives in Iping, everybody is focused on that fellow, because it's natural if a stranger comes in such kind of time when somebody is not expected to be. Okay, then everybody's ears, everybody's eyes, everybody's tongues start talking about, looking out about, listening about that kind of a stranger. So that's what happened here. It's very unusual that the people of Iping had not been expecting anybody like Griffin in a complete strange nature. How is he strange? Probably he was keeping his hands wearing with gloves. That's a cold season, that is natural. But then besides what is natural, that covering his neck with a side whiskers, okay, muffler, the bandaged forehead is something really very strange. We will find out what he explains about himself regarding all this bandages and all. But now, you see, it says like this: the arrival of a stranger at an inn in winter was in any case an unusual event. It's an unusual event, okay? They were not expecting any stranger right now. So, a stranger of such uncommon appearance, he looks very uncommon because of his dress, okay? Set all tongues wagging. set all tongues wagging. That means everybody started talking about this fellow. Who is this new guy coming in our place in a complete strange manner? That's how the news about the arrival of Griffin in Iping, went viral in your language. Okay? So it went viral and everybody started talking about this new guy. Alright? So the inn that he booked 2 rooms for himself. Mrs. Hall is the wife of the landlord of that inn. Okay? And she tried to be very friendly with Griffin. But very strange, Griffin doesn't want to make friends with anybody in that place. Even with the landlord's wife. Okay? So he told his reason of coming to Iping is for solitude. He needed complete silence. Okay? He just wants himself to remain in silence, not to be disturbed by anybody. Okay? So that's why he says, my reason for coming to Iping is a desire for solitude. Desire for solitude. A desire to be left alone. Okay? He wanted to stay alone. That's it. I do not wish to be disturbed in my work. He tells, I am at work, so you should not disturb me. Besides, an accident has affected my face. That's what he told. When people were trying to know about his strange appearance, he told to the landlord's wife, Mrs. Hall, that my coming to Iping is for solitude and I don't want anybody to disturb in my work. And again, the way that you look at me, it's the accident that has affected my face. I got an accident, so that accident has affected my face. That's what he told. Okay? So Mrs. Hall should remain satisfied with that kind of an answer. So what to do? She has to guess her guest as an eccentric scientist. Eccentric scientist means a very strange scientist. A scientist but very strange. Okay? That's how she satisfied herself about Griffin. And in view of the fact that she receives advance payment, nothing more to say, because she has received her money for the rent. So all is well with that. That's what she believed, okay? That's what she thought. And so Mrs. Hall was prepared to excuse his strange habits and also irritable temper. She excused for that, okay? Why? The reason is she already got her money. So getting money means, not to bother for any other thing, all right? So that's the kind of nature Mrs. Hall had. And that's how Griffin was left all alone. And, someday or the other day, the stolen money would have been all gone. So this has happened here. The stolen money is all gone now. Now what he had to do? He had to admit that his money is gone. He has no more ready cash. But he pretended that a check is being expected. He is expecting a check to come. And then when he gets that, he assures that he would pay the bill for the rent. Okay? So that's what happened. And shortly after confessing himself that he had no more ready cash, what happens? We will discuss it in the next episode of this lesson. Okay? So for now, bye-bye. Thank you for watching.